Today, the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar empire watched by millions every week. The Super Bowl is practically a national holiday. But it all started humbly, with dusty fields, leather helmets, and a bunch of small-town teams trying to survive. The story begins in 1920 in Canton, Ohio. Back then, professional football wasn't glamorous at all. College football was way more popular, and pro teams were mostly local clubs that played in front of a few hundred fans. Players earned barely enough to cover gas money, and sometimes played both offense and defense in the same game. That year, representatives from 4 Ohio teams, the Akron Pros, Canton Bulldogs, Cleveland Indians, and Dayton Triangles, met in a car dealership owned by a man named Ralph Hay. The goal? Stop teams from stealing each other's players and standardize rules. They formed what was called the American Professional Football Association, or APFA. Just 2 years later, in 1922, the league changed its name to the National Football League, the NFL. But the league still struggled. Teams came and went almost every season. Some folded halfway through the year. And there was no national TV or radio to help build excitement. Then came the 1930s and 40s, and the NFL slowly began to take shape. In 1933, the league was reorganized into 2 divisions, with the winners playing in a championship game. That was the birth of what we now know as the NFL Championship, the forerunner to the Super Bowl. At the same time, stars like Red Grange and Sammy Baugh began drawing crowds. Teams like the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and New York Giants built loyal followings. The league survived the Great Depression and even kept going during World War II, though teams often had to merge because so many players went off to fight. But the real turning point came after the war, in the 1950s. In 1958, the NFL championship game between the Baltimore Colts and New York Giants went into sudden death overtime, the first time that had happened in a title game. Broadcast nationally, it was instantly dubbed the greatest game ever played. Millions of Americans, who had never watched pro football before, became hooked. Around the same time, a rival league called the American Football League, AFL, was formed in 1960. The AFL was bolder and flashier, with colorful uniforms, wide-open passing attacks, and exciting young players. For several years, the AFL and NFL competed fiercely, stealing draft picks, bidding wars for players, and fighting for TV contracts. Eventually, the 2 leagues agreed to merge. In 1970, the NFL and AFL officially became one league, keeping the name NFL. They created 2 conferences, the AFC, from the old AFL teams, and the NFC, from the old NFL teams. And as part of the deal, the champions of each conference would meet in a single championship game, the Super Bowl. The first Super Bowl was played in 1967 between the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. At the time, it didn't even sell out. But within a few years, it became the biggest sporting event in America. From there, the NFL just kept growing. New stars emerged: Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Lawrence Taylor, and later Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. TV networks paid billions for broadcast rights. Sunday afternoons became sacred to fans across the country. But the NFL story isn't just about big hits and big money. It's about innovation too, introducing instant replay, the 2-point conversion, and overtime to keep games exciting. And it's about iconic moments, the Ice Bowl, the Immaculate Reception, and David Tyree's famous helmet catch in the Super Bowl. Today, the NFL is more than just a league. It's part of American culture. Over 100 million people watch the Super Bowl every year. Kids grow up dreaming of scoring touchdowns. And cities rally around their teams with unmatched passion. All of it traces back to that meeting in a car dealership in Canton, Ohio, when a handful of small-town teams decided to do something bigger together. So next time you watch an NFL game, remember, behind every touchdown and tackle is a story nearly a century old, of struggle, rivalry, and the dream of making football something special.